Okay, welcome to Monday Meetup on September 29th, 2025. I'm Crystal Garvin, and this is also our prepare week of our Go for Growth 8 weeks training or challenge. Really, it's both. So I hope you're all in the Facebook group and have found that. We'll go over a few housekeeping things there just in case anyone's confused. I know some people just got added into the group today and might feel behind. Don't feel that way. It's okay. You can catch up. There's a lot from last week that was just kind of filler. It is great information if you have time to go back and review it, but don't stress about it. So, again, I'm Crystal, and I have been with doTERRA since December of 2012. I had my first class in January of 2013, and it was taught long distance by Tanya Cottrell, whom you all know. You're all on her team. And she taught, I think we used Google Hangouts back then. She taught to my living room full of people. I had a couple people join virtually. She did a couple of those classes for me in January 2013. And I really was just a casual sharer for a while. I wasn't sure I wanted to commit to the business side of this. It took me most of that year, late in the summer, I decided to actually jump in and start building. And I really just have always kind of been an all or nothing person. So once I fully made up my mind, I jumped right in. I did some training similar to what you're doing with Go for Growth that really helped me get on the right track and hit the ground running. So that's what the purpose of this is. Whether you've been building for 10 days or 10 years, we want you to know that the path is really the same. The basics are the basics. And that's what we're going back over. I love personally to go back to these basic ways of building. We refresh it here and there. We add to it as times change and methods change. We will be adding some valuable information that is time sensitive throughout this, but a lot of it is timeless as well. So we hope that that's what you'll get out of it is a lot of practical help, tools, ideas, inspiration, help with mindset for building. And so this week is about preparing. So we're going through the pipes. We talked about that last week. And so the first P is prepare. So just a reminder for everyone, if you can have your camera on, then you'll have a chance to win balance for being on live tonight. And at the end of the week, come back if you can by Saturday evening or Sunday at the latest, and we'll draw a winner before the next Zoom next Monday, same time, same place. And you'll have a chance to win Island Mint, which is a limited time blend that you cannot purchase. And that's just for sharing what you've done this week. What activity moved you forward, sharing some kind of win that you had in your business this week. Everyone will be randomly chosen from those who are on live each Monday and then those who share a win or more than one. We really just want to celebrate with you. So there'll be different prizes each week. We'll announce those at the beginning of the week. Just look for the Celebrate Your Success post or the giveaway post in the Facebook group. And we can all celebrate each other. And hopefully you have gotten into your accountability group. So you should have all received the emails with the names and phone numbers. Is everybody in a text group now? Does everybody have like show of hands? Okay, good. So you are off and running. We have 5 groups. Most of them have 5 people each, but there is one with 6. It was a good mix this time. There's a lot of different mixture of longevity and experience within each group. Some brand new people and some who've been building for several years. Sorry, I should have probably muted everyone, but if you have background noise, you can mute yourself. Um, so remember, these are support groups. You're going to be each other's cheerleaders. Naturally, there's going to be conversation that comes up in your groups. But as much as possible, try to stick to just, sharing your 3 things you're going to do that day by 10 a.m. your time, and then the 3 things you actually did that day, or whatever it is you did that day. Maybe you won't get to all 3 things. That's okay. But it just keeps you on a path of setting goals and trying to get those things done. We all get derailed some days. We all have days where we're like, well, this came up and I didn't get those things done today, but I'm moving that to tomorrow's to-do list. But I'm going to share for accountability. And you don't have to, of course, share the whole long story of why you didn't get it done. Just own it. I didn't get it done today, and I'm going to do it tomorrow, or this is my new plan going forward. I'm just going to recalibrate here. So again, naturally, you'll have some conversation, but with 5 or 6 people in each group, if everyone shares your life story, that's going to be kind of difficult. Now, I do know there are some groups that choose to set up a time to have their own little Zoom just to get to know each other better. Feel free within your groups if you have time. Maybe not everyone does if you want to do that, but we do want to keep you on track of actually doing the activities that will build your business. So share what you've accomplished each day by 10 p.m. Again, remember, everyone's in different time zones. So if you don't know how, you might want to figure out how to set do not disturb during the hours you do not want to be receiving text alerts. Okay. So someone might be 3 hours ahead of you or behind you in your group. So just make sure you're not awakened by those texts that could really disrupt your sleep, no matter how much serenity you use, right? So focus on motivating each other, encouraging, just reminding each other. We all have those hard days. And, as Anne of Green Gables says, tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it yet. So the rule is 10 and 10. Share three goals you have by 10 a.m., three things you did by around 10 p.m. And they do not have to be huge things. I really want to encourage you to remember that because one of your things can be, I'm going to watch today's video. Some of the videos are 3 minutes long. Okay, it's not going to always be a long task or a big task that you have to do. That could be one of your three things. If there's a post in the group that day, which most days there will be, some days there might not, because we really want you to get in the habit of doing the pipes activities that build your business, not just learning about them. Right. So if possible, the other two things besides whatever task there was posted in the group, the other two should be income producing if possible. But we all have to do behind the scenes admin work that's necessary at times. So it's okay if you need to spend some time that day making graphics for a class or a gathering or getting supplies together for a vendor event you might have that weekend or whatever it is. So done is better than perfect, as Stephanie said, for all of the recovering perfectionists. Just remember that rule of thumb, done is better than perfect. Don't think you have to do everything perfectly. Okay, so this week, just to recap for those who are new, you will hear some references sometimes in some of these videos that are older to 8 weeks for Elite. That was just the name of the program that we are borrowing some material from for our Go for Growth. So it's not rank specific. Elite does not matter actually to our training. It just applies to all ranks, all places that you're starting from in your business, whether you are elite or not, or you several ranks above that, or whatever it might be, just starting out. So some of you may be so new you don't even know what elite means, and that's okay. It means you have 3,000 total volume on your team, including your own order. Executives 2,000, but there's a lot of focus on the rank of elite within doTERRA because it's more or less the backbone of building to diamond down the road. You'll hear a lot about diamond rank. You do not have to understand all the ranks or the compensation plan yet. We want you to understand the activities that build a successful business. So that's where we're focusing. But if you're ready to understand the next layer of the compensation plan or the next rank to work toward, whatever it is you're reaching for, if you're ready for that work with your mentor, we can get you the resources you need when you're ready. We just don't want you to get too bogged down because it really makes the most sense to go one step at a time. You understand it better as you're taking baby steps and experiencing each rank or each step that you need to take. We don't want to overwhelm you or have you shut down and give up because it's too confusing or something like that. So don't worry too much about that when you hear 8 weeks to elite, or if you don't know what those ranks are yet, you'll learn. Okay, so I want to show kind of the setup of the group just to make sure everyone's clear on that. So again, sorry if you were here last week or you're an old pro at this. I will make this quick, but we do have some really new people who just got into the group, and I'm going to share a couple links actually in the chat that are two different links to some doTERRA literature that I'm going to show later. So there's two separate links there that you should be able to see. I think it just one of them popped up and the other one you just have to copy and paste. But I may not be able to get back to sharing in the chat after I actually start screen sharing. So I'm going to share that now. Before we get into what all of that is, I just want to show the Facebook group and make sure you know how to track where you're at and what you've done so far. So the get ready videos from last week, they really are helpful if you haven't had a chance to watch them yet. Now, if you just scroll through the group, you might get confused because they're all out of order. So what you're going to want to do, this is on a desktop, of course, or laptop, of course. You should be able to find guides on your phone also. This is how it looks on a computer, on a browser. So if you go to the guides over here, you see the introduction, intro day one, day two, day three, day four. So it went over creating a vision, um, deepening your why, which also Stephanie talked about last week, becoming a professional network marketer, setting up your calendar, and your business partners. So those were the first four steps. For those who did watch those or go through those, I would love to know what got you thinking about how you want to run your business. What are you working on putting into practice from what you learned from the first week's intro posts? Now, again, if you just got into the group today, don't sweat it. You can catch up on these. You can go through them. A lot of them really are very short. So if you click on one, you'll see the entire post. There's a YouTube video link. And after you've finished that first post, you can click done. And then it'll keep progress tracking for you within the guides so that you know, "Oh, I've already done that." It'll have a little green check mark. You can also comment. Sometimes we'll prompt you in the verbiage, comment what you got out of this or something like that, or comment done when you're done. And some people just like to, like you see Twinka, she's used to this. She's done this before. She commented done on here because when she got it finished, she wanted to be able to remember from her own comments, oh yeah, I did do that already. So you can mark done, you can comment done. Love these vision boards, by the way, that some of you shared. They're really fantastic. It's nice that we can do these digitally. Way back in the day when we did scrapbooking versions on a cork board kind of a thing. That was fun too, but I love being able to do the digital ones because you can add to them. Um, they will shift and change over time. Okay, so then you can go down to the next one, click done after you've done it, and then you see the green check mark here. And then if that's all I had time for today, and I want to go back into the group another day, I can click on these and see, oh, I've already done that one. This is where I'm at. I'm on to the next day, day three. So that way you'll go through them in order. This week we are going to be doing Prepare Week. So the only thing I've posted, well, I've done two posts so far. The first one was getting started. And this is talking about accountability groups, prizes, just so you know where to find these things, the giveaways. And then this team website that Tanya created is so great. It's a landing page with links to pretty much everything we need to build this business. If you haven't done that yet, it's great to go through step by step. She's got a setup guide in there, getting started guide. If you're looking for something, it's always good to check there first. If you're looking for this month's classes, she's working on getting October's up for us. This is a great place to come back to bookmark, to work through as you're a new builder. And then just a reminder of our weekly Monday meetups. And that was it for this one. So you could mark that done if you had a chance to look through Tanya's site and bookmark it. And then the next one is the giveaways. So you'll want to come back to this one rather than marking it done just because you want to wait until the end of the week when you can share your success activities, your prepare activities that you did successfully this week. So by October 4th, it says, so that's Saturday. And the camera on, you'll be automatically entered for that. So you might want to wait to mark that done until after you've put your comment in about your success for the week. So other posts will pop up throughout the rest of this week. There's one each day. And we're going to be covering effective sampling, your names list, some online building tips for those who are interested in building online. So there'll be some great things coming up over the next days. Again, some of those videos are only a few minutes long. Some days they might be, I think, up to maybe 12 minutes total. There might be a couple of videos. So not super time consuming in here, but it'll help you keep on track and will give you some tasks to focus on. All right, so that's the Facebook group. I'm going to stop sharing, see if there were any questions about that. And we've got some comments. Let's see, what day is the group on today? We are on day one of Prepare Week. So that is each Monday will be day one of something. So we're starting with the first P of pipes. So you're just on Prepare. You haven't missed much. We just had an intro week last week. And so there's some things in there that you might want to go back and go through. All right. So did anybody have anything from those intro week tasks or videos, anything that was impactful to you, anything that you are putting into place? I really personally like getting you thinking about who you want to build this business with really early on. Who might your business partners be? Also setting up your calendar. That, am I muted?
Sorry, Crystal, I muted you on accident because I was muting everyone. I heard back feed. Anyway, you're unmuted now. I
I don't know how
apologize.
long I was muted, so
For like 20
okay.
seconds.
So if anybody had anything from intro week, and now you're all muted, so you have to unmute yourself if you have anything to share, or you can type it in the chat. But I was hoping to get some of you interacting on what that was for you that stood out if you got through those intro activities, or even from last week, what Stephanie shared. A lot of it was a repeat of that. And I did see some of your vision boards, which are fantastic, but also getting you thinking about your business partners, who those might be. We'll have some tips on how to talk to them, how to introduce the business, setting up your calendar. Did anybody get any of those activities started already, or have you already done those things? Twinka, go ahead.
So I really appreciated going back at this point in my doTERRA journey and doing the vision and the why. And I liked the way that she had us do the problem, the struggle, the solution, and what we're excited about. I think that really helped me to, think about the way that I want to present whenever I talk to people. I think it was a really good reminder, maybe for, it was definitely for me, but maybe for some of us who have gotten comfortable with a certain way of presenting.
Mm-hmm.
I have not done a vision board in many, many years. And um, doing that activity first really helped me to put together the vision board. I hung it up in my bathroom so far. I'm going to put it all around. But other than that, also, I'm working on an 8-week calendar that is going to include offering some regular classes, just, get back to that same thing that I used to do years ago and go ahead and set up classes, different topics, and, just see what I can get either from existing customers or try to get some new customers. I feel like I need to get out of the comfort zone that I've been in with the community that I've been in at my chamber and with the women's group that I have been part of for a long time, and start looking for some new, fresh blood, if you will.
That's great, Twinka. I love that because it doesn't matter how long you've been building. We all need to get back to our vision board, our why, to remember what this is really for, and also to reevaluate our network. Am I getting into a rut? Am I getting comfortable with my group of people? Am I still getting out there and networking in the right ways or the right spaces? Just evaluating that, and maybe you come up with it and say, "No, I'm doing great. I'm still making all these new contacts. This is right where I need to be." And other times you realize I need to expand. So those are really important things to remember for all of us because no matter how long you keep building, getting back to these basic activities is so good. And we have been talking, like we did this in the spring, and we're having such great response. And I know I personally need to get back to these activities and the mindset activities and things that we'll be doing too, that I would love if we keep doing it twice a year if there's enough interest. So I think it's just a good reset for everyone, and it's a great thing to invite brand new builders into as well. So let's see, we got some wins shared in the comments. Jeff had his first 2 personal enrollments last week. Yay! Got back to executive rank. Congratulations to Jeff and Ann. And Valerie said today I started adding people to my builder list. Awesome. LJ said the networking video is helpful and that she's trying to add 2 people a day to her network. Very good. I like the idea of looking for people that I want to be in business with. Yes, that's very good, Meredith. And yeah, those are awesome wins. Anybody else have anything before we go into the next section of training? Okay, said she realized she hasn't had a vision board in years. It's a big part of her problem. Yeah, it helps you have a path forward and that visual aid of this is what I'm really reaching for. And it's something tangible right in front of your face that looks like a certain vacation or car or home or lifestyle or goal or paying off debt, whatever it is. for you, what that looks like, being able to afford the things you would love for your children to be able to do or your retirement. So, what does that look like? Get some real practical visual representations of those things and make yourself a vision board. It's super easy to do in Canva now, right? So, you don't have to get all crafty unless you want to get out magazines and do a collage, an old-fashioned one. But yes, that's great. Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. All right, let me get back to the prepare steps. So, oh, just so you know too, every week on Saturday, we will have a couple of short videos. They're just testimonials. They are meant to encourage you. So Monday through Friday, we're going to have specific activities, tasks, videos, of course, Monday meetup to plug into. And then Saturday, we're just going to have some encouraging testimonials for you to enjoy. And then Sundays are your day off or your catch-up day if needed. Okay, so that's kind of the basic format. The prepare steps, the first things that you want to do when you are in the prepare phase, first you've got to be a product of the product. So you have an experience to share. You want a powerful product experience. Most of you will have already had that because you tried a sample or you've been using oils for a little while already. You may not feel like yours is powerful enough. You're always welcome to borrow other stories. So again, if you listen to those Saturday videos, both on the business and the product, we'll have one of each Saturday. You can borrow those stories. You can say, I heard this story, or if your upline has an amazing story, or someone in your life has an awesome oil story, you can say, my friend had this experience. It doesn't always have to be your personal experience, but you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't have a powerful experience with a doTERRA product. So just keep learning about the products, keep being a product of the product. Don't feel like you have to know all the science. That's not what I mean. But just continue to use the products, maybe experience one or two different new products each month. That's really my first goal in starting a business was I want all the oils and I can't buy them all at once. So how can I earn enough to be able to add a couple new oils on my order every month until I have all of them? And then, of course, along the way, I fell in love with supplements and skincare and hair care and everything else. So you'll also want to have a reference book or an app. So many of us use Modern Essentials. The Essential Life book was out of print for a while. It's coming back. The EOE app is, I think, it's about $8 if you want something at your fingertips on your phone. The Spoil Your Pet, if you're really into sharing about cats and dogs, that's a great one. I refer to it for my dog. Of course, drop by drop. You know, you can go in there and use the magnifying glass search tool and look up a health condition or symptom. Remember, we have to be pretty careful about not naming many diseases and even some symptoms for compliance. So you may not find the exact word you're looking for, but it can really help you to make recommendation as you're still learning. And you'll learn to you'll just start to become like Stephanie was saying in one of her trainings, like your brain becomes like this Rolodex. You start remembering, oh, this oil for that, this oil for that, and you think I'll never know those things the way like Tanya rattles it off or whatever it is. But you will, as you have the product experiences, as you make recommendations to others, you'll start remembering what works. But use those tools as long as you need to, as much as you need to. I still go into drop by drop. I still go into my books and apps to remember certain things or see if there's any new recommendations for something a customer may be asking about. So, product to the product, make sure you have some resources, and then you need to set some goals. So, determining what income you would like to achieve. A helpful tool for that. There's two different guides. The names are a little bit confusing, but the build guide from doTERRA is really meant to introduce someone who's interested in the business to what that looks like. And then there's a much more in-depth guide called the Business Building Guide from doTERRA. So I'm going to put the first one again in the chat. You can click download on that and get the version that is just electronic, just a PDF. Let me get back to sharing here. Okay, so I'm still in the vision. Here we go. So this is the build guide. And a lot of this is great to read through if you haven't yet. A lot of this is covered in the Path to 500. If you joined any of those or have watched any of the recordings of the Path to 500 training that Tanya has gone through. But if you get down to, let me see if I can zoom out, pages 6 and 7, this really spells out some of the ranks, like we were talking about earlier, elite, premier, silver, gold, it shows you about how much you would make per month at each of those ranks. Okay, so that will kind of help you to narrow in on, well, where do I want to be? What is the rank I'm hoping to achieve? And I was thinking, does this one not any longer have the average amount of time it takes to get there? I don't think it does. And that really is such a huge variable. It doesn't matter that it's not. It used to say it. Maybe I'm kind of glad it doesn't anymore because that can really set either false expectations one way or another. Think, oh, I can't do that for so long because it takes most people a year and a half. Well, for every, rank, I know somebody who got there in months or someone who got there in years because it's all about your time frame, your goals, what you're going to focus on doing and how fast you need to get there for your why. Okay, so this will just help you as you look through it. It's a really good resource and a good just overview of what the business looks like, the different bonuses. Again, don't get overwhelmed or in the weeds too much here, but it is a great thing to have handy and just to help you realistically set some expectations as well. So the first question I have for you, you did put this on the form that we had you fill out. But as you've thought about it, as you're getting prepared, something you need to think about in prepare week is how many hours a week on average do you think you can spend doing this business? So put it in the chat. What are the number of hours a week you think you can spend on the business? Because that will help those who are mentoring you to let you know if it's realistic. That, yes, of course, we'd all love to be diamond in a month and a half, right? But we're going to help you know that's not realistic, but let's paint a picture of what is realistic. So as you're working with your mentor, as those who are helping you, maybe you have a sideline person that's about the same rank as you, and that some of those relationships will form through your accountability groups. It will help you to know if it's really realistic. And again, we don't want to discourage you from your goal, but we also don't want to paint an unrealistic picture and promise you a quick scheme when that is not what this is. So I think Stephanie asked you this last week to think about, and you could just write this down. You don't have to put it in the chat, but if you didn't do this last week, how much income would you like to be making at the end of this training? So that's in the next couple of months. What would you hope for? And then she walked you through, and I believe she did some of this last week, by the end of the year. So 90 days, what would you like it to look like by then? And then also write down 6 months from now, where would I like my income to be? And then finally, 1 year from now. So if you write down where you'd like to be by the end of this training, and then a 90-day goal, 6 months, and 1 year, just keep in mind that can always shift. Life can throw you some curveballs, or maybe something will shift where you have more time than you thought you would to spend on the business. And it's important to know why you want to reach those goals at the pace that you're setting. How will your life change when you reach that 1 year goal? And what will happen if you don't reach those goals? So those are some things to ponder and to think about. And if you look down here, here's where, and maybe you're telling me this in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, but the estimated time needed, they just brought it onto this other page. It's not spelled out on those pages. So if you have 3 to 10 hours per week, you're personally enrolling a few customers monthly. And then you see executive in 1 to 2 months, elite in 2 to 3 months, premier in about 6-ish months. If you have 10 to 30 hours a week and you can enroll at least 4 customers and 1 builder a month, then you're looking at premier in 6-ish months, gold in 1 to 2 years. Again, these are averages. So we know people who have taken that long or longer, and we know people who were really motivated, had the time, just hit the ground running, and were able to hit some of these like gold in 6 months or even less. If you have 25 to 50 hours per week, you're looking at wanting the goal of enrolling at least 8 customers and 2 builders a month. And then you're looking at diamond in 1 to 4 years. So that's a big range. 1 to 4 years is a large range. But again, everyone's activity is going to look different. Everyone's networks look different. Your life looks different from anyone else's. So they put these averages out, but cautiously and with a big range in that window because we know it's going to have a lot of variables, but at least gives you a starting point to think about where you could be and where you want to be by the end of this training. Again, write that down in 90 days or by the end of the year, in 6 months, and then in 1 year. And then there are some things, so it goes through pipes here. That's what we're doing through the Go for Growth and some next steps for you. So this is pretty basic, but that's just kind of an overview of the business for those who may be new. And then we're going to look at the business building guide, which is more in depth. So any questions or thoughts? I see a hand raised, and I know there's comments in here with how many hours, so I wanted to look at those. Jeff and Ann, did you have anything? Your hand is raised, so I didn't know if you wanted to say something. Yeah, I also prefer the books. I do like the app for when I'm out and I don't have my book with me, but I use the book still more often too. That does probably make us old-fashioned. That's okay.
We love the book too, and I carry that heavy thing when I go out and talk to people. um,
But we do have the small A to Z guide.
Yeah.
that's true. That's true, and we hand it out. Thank you for having this, and I did enjoy the videos and wrote down my product why. I don't
Oh,
know that I'd put it down. I put it in the YouTube video and tried to share it in here in the group.
okay.
I've had my Facebook challenges. This is all onto my Facebook page that I tried to delete in the last 2 years.
Hmm.
It isn't on the latest one I have, so that's proposed challenges and maybe why it's not updating. You all suggested I update it and download the app, and that's there, but it's on a newer profile. Both are me, but doTERRA excuse me, Facebook hangs on to a person's identity like a dog with a bone. Um, Anyways, you mentioned in the video, or they were mentioned in videos, mentors in several of them. I've got the list of people to connect with for this 8 weeks, but what about the mentorship?
Well, that's like Tanya said last week. We are all here to encourage each other and mentor each other in many ways. And then you all have upline, but I know you all have different situations with upline. So that may be different for each person. I don't want people to get too hung up on that. Some of the material we're going to look at next actually does talk about like a weekly strategy session. And that's a little bit dated too. Most of us don't do that anymore. We might have a check-in with an accountability partner, or we might have, if we are blessed enough to have an upline that has regular check-ins with us. But we don't all have that. We don't all have uplines who are active, or our enroller may not be as active. Of course, you all have us as your uplines who are active in this business, and we're happy to provide mentoring as needed. It doesn't usually look like weekly strategy sessions, but that's what your accountability groups are for the next 8 weeks. So if you have specific questions, you can always reach out to your nearest actively building upline for mentoring. That's kind of the short answer to that. And if you're not sure about that, let's talk about that, off Zoom as far as helping get you plugged into who that might be. But for the next eight weeks, it's each other. It's your accountability group that's going to help keep you on
Okay.
track along with the videos and all of the training that you're plugging into every day and every week through Zoom and through the group. And if you need a different Facebook profile added in, you can reach out to one of us afterward as well. Okay, so somebody asked about these guides. So the built guide is only.
Thank you. So
Oh,
I
you're
just did a
welcome, Jeff. Thanks.
messenger
Hope
or
that's helpful.
message group through text with those. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just reach out to us if you need to, a Facebook message or um, yeah, text, or we can set up a call or something too if needed to help you with that. All right, so somebody asked about these guides, if they are available in print or
Okay.
only in
Thank you. Thank you.
digital form. And the first one is only digital. The second one that I just put the link in there again, you can buy that. You can add it to your cart. It is $10. If you want that added to your October LRP, you can go ahead and put it in your cart. So I just put that link there for you if you would like to buy it. This one is much more comprehensive. And so you'll see the reference in this one. I'm going to show it to you. You'll see the reference to weekly strategy sessions. And Tanya had a good comment here. They tend to actually get people stuck. We do the weekly group call instead of that because we've seen it really does work better for people if they're in a group setting, getting regular ideas off each other's idea. What's working for you? What's working for you? Let's, share trainings and talk through these things together versus one-on-one. People do oftentimes get stuck. So but I will open this up on my end and share it with you, and you can save that link too, or you can, like I said, order a hard copy. So this is your ultimate guide to pipes in a format that's really user friendly, of course, very beautiful. But there's the table of contents. So, welcome, congratulations. This is life changing. We use oil, share oils, and teach others to do the same. It's really that simple. Again, it's going to have some of the same graphics, similar themes at the beginning as the build guide, the pipes, going through what all of those are. And then you see 5 steps to success. You've got prepare. So there's a nice checklist here for you for the prepare steps. If you like to have a guide to follow that's simple like that, and we're going to dig into the prepare aspects of this. All right, so getting started, making sure you know how to log in, basic account things, where to find links. These are some corporate resources to get familiar with. And then it gets into setting goals. So successful people set specific goals. We definitely need to be specific in what we are going for, and we want to have that time frame specified. So that's why I asked you to kind of jot down where you want to be in those time increments. And then repeating those steps for the foundational rank of elite is really the key to growing to silver, platinum, diamond. It is kind of the backbone rank of these other ranks. So choosing your earning goals, this again gets into a little more depth of what it looks like and the amount of time needed. So I really like this one for once someone has decided to build because you get a lot more specific here about choosing your pace. There will likely be between 1 to 4 weeks of preparing. We're doing it in one, and then, but also it says sharing and inviting prior to hosting your first presentation. So we are breaking it down with 1 week for each letter of pipes, and then choosing the pace you aim to achieve to get to the rank of elite. Again, we're not focusing as much as on rank as we are on the activities that it's going to take. So we want you to be getting into those good habits of doing the things that it's going to take. But this is a good place if you want to print this out or again order a hard copy to write down those goals and then choose your commitment and share these goals with your family, your upline, your mentor, your accountability group, anybody like that that you're working with, where you'll see them daily. Why is it important to reach your goals at the pace you set? How will your life change when you reach your 1 year goal? What will your life be like if you never reach your 1 year goal? Not just if you don't reach it in a year, but never. Because we know it might take longer than a year, but if you're halfway there in a year, it's still worth it. Why? What's that big why? That vision board again, too. And then we get into your names list. So tomorrow you're going to have a video about your names list, about really prioritizing. This is really a list of people whose lives you want to change. Building a successful financial pipeline begins with inviting others to discover how doTERRA Health Solutions and the business opportunity. So don't forget about that. You're going to have that sprinkled in throughout this training that you want to invite people to the business as well. And this is, Stephanie mentioned this last week too, getting your names list started, starting to prioritize who has a health need, who has a financial or time need, who has a purpose need. They're needing to make an impact or wanting something significant to pursue. Who's influential already? That really is a bonus. Who's already naturally minded? That's also a bonus. And then who already has some business or sales experience. And then you kind of have this tally of how many points they got for each of those. So you put a tally mark for each of those. What's their total? And this is just teaching you to kind of really think through your family and friends who might be the ones that are easier yeses, because it's great to get those yeses earlier on in your business. And this will help you to spell that out and think about your top 45. or I guess this is 50. Somewhere in here it says your top 45, but really we aim for 100 names list, and then we start to filter and prioritize those we want to reach out to first. Not judging, again, like we've talked about, it's not about prejudging. You will get a yes from someone that has no tally marks, then and you're shocked. And then someone who does have the tally marks that you think, oh, this is going to be the perfect person, they'll just flat out tell you no. They're just not interested. They think they know more than you or are better than you or whatever. So you just have to learn to let that roll off your back, like we talked about. You offer them the cookie, and not everyone's going to take a cookie. You offer them ketchup with their fries, and some people are going to say no, but you're not, as the waiter at that table, going to go cry about it, right? You're just, okay, next, okay, next. And you have to develop that mindset going through knowing that you will get enough yeses to start getting a really good start off on your business. So think about those who are looking for improved health, a better future, have a need for more money, time, or purpose. They are socially influential, interested in natural things, already living a healthy lifestyle, has some business or sales experience, and then they are self-motivated. So this just shows you, again, oh, this is where the rest of the 100 names listed. So your community, other, gives you those categories of people to help you brainstorm and think through. So whether you use this or you just have an old-fashioned notebook or you have a spreadsheet, somehow keep track of your names and always keep adding to it. And then learn to prioritize. And again, this is kind of along the lines of your potential builders, that video that Stephanie had posted last week. If I could work with anyone, who would it be? Who would I work best with? Who would bring the kind of commitment and action that matches or exceeds the pace I have set to reach my goals? Write those down to come to mind from your list, or maybe someone else pops in your mind. And think too about you really end up doing life with those you're building with on your team. Who do you want to travel with? Who do you want to spend more time with? Who would you just love to work with? Those types of things. So those are going to be your top prospects for the business. You're going to begin sharing and inviting, and we're going to get into those steps through the pipes one at a time. And you're going to try to commit to enrolling at least one builder within your first couple of weeks, is what this recommends. That does allow you to create healthy placement structure as we get into placement later in the Go for Growth. It helps you to maximize the compensation plan, because without builders, you only have a bunch of customers. So you have an oil club, and it's not a business that's structured well for growth in the future. All right, so that's your names list. We'll keep going on this, your success tracker. This is going to be the progress of your top 45 prospects here. So those who have the most points as you're actually thinking about sampling. There will be a day this week where there's effective sampling tips on the videos. The best way to contact them, you probably know this. These are people in your life that you already talked to. Is it texting? Is it Facebook Messenger? Is it an old-fashioned phone call, FaceTime? If you know that, you can jot that down. And then your approaches, as you approach them, as you give them a sample, this helps you to really track the progress that you're having and the success that you're having in reaching out to them and getting them to the next logical step, whether it's coming to a class, learning about the business. So that'll be a way to track your top 45. Again, you can do that in a spreadsheet or another way, but don't skip it. Don't not track. And I had a notebook for a very long time, and I finally did convert that over to a spreadsheet. But you always want to keep adding to your names list. And you want to schedule your success. So remember that this is about developing really good habits that will help you to grow this business and get to those goals that you want. So you want to spend at least 70% of your time inviting, presenting, and rolling. That's what we call IPing in the pipes. Those are the income producing activities. And the best way to grow is to recruit and launch builders who are doing the same. Don't let that intimidate you. We're going to give you good verbiage. We're going to give you tips on that. But this is just getting you into that mindset. And these are the things that you're going to be working toward doing. So just asking yourself, who can I share a product experience with? Share a sample, follow up with them. Who would be open to learning about essential oils? Who has maybe already come to some kind of a class? There'll be some online opportunities coming up to invite people for online classes. If you've got someone who's long distance, we'll be providing some of those for you. Who needs a wellness consult? So this is getting ahead of yourself a little bit, unless you've already been building for a while, someone you've already enrolled who needs a wellness consult, an intro to the business, is already loving their oils and might like to host. But these are questions you'll be asking as you continue on with building. All right, so we'll keep going. This is your weekly schedule. So again, maybe this makes you twitch, like, oh, I hate this list. I don't like this layout. Or maybe this is exactly what you're looking for. The point again is to use some kind of calendar. Stephanie talked a little bit last week about using, I think it's Google Calendar. That's what I use. I think that's what she uses too. Different people have different apps, different actual physical calendar books that they love. If you already have something you use and love, put it in the chat for people just to compare and contrast and see what might work really well for me. So this is going to help you start mapping out your calendar. I know that someone was I think it was Chelsea specifically was asking, I'd love to hear how a homeschool mom orders her days and her week, that type of thing. There's a lot of us. So you can speak into that if you already do this, you're already tracking your hours, you're already mapping out your calendar, or in your accountability group. If you have a question like that, feel free to put that out there. Hey, I'm new to this. I'm wondering if there's a homeschool mom here in this group or in the Facebook group, and maybe you can chat through that. I'm a homeschool mom, so I'm in a different phase though. My kids are all teenagers. I have one adult, two teenagers, and I'm on the home stretch. So my days look a lot different than they did when I had 3, 5, and 7 year old. So that's a lot different, but it is possible. And like Kay was saying in the chat, I saw she's working on figuring out how to get up earlier to get things started before her workday starts. And I know Tanya has talked about that. That's what we had to do when our kids were little and we were homeschooling and running other businesses and doing other things, had to just get up extra early or stay up later at night. And it was worth it to be where we're at with our businesses. It was worth it to reach those goals. It was worth those sacrifices in the short term to figure that out. Or maybe you have to give something up for a little while. Maybe there is something you're giving up in the short term so that you can have that freedom that you're seeking in the long term. If your calendar is already packed to the gills and there are no spots in there that you can add in a class or add in the IPE activities, the business building actions, but you really want this, you'll find a way, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. And if it means giving up something that you have, of obviously another job that you rely on for the income, but maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's a specific um, a commitment that you don't really have to have as a commitment for the next 6 months. And then just knowing that as you work toward that goal, you're going to have all kinds of time and financial freedom down the road. But it's like the Dave Ramsey quote where you have to live like no one else so later you can live like no one else. All right, so add in the things that are non-negotiable on your calendar, whether you're doing this on a paper calendar or an electronic calendar, something interactive that you use digitally, and then block in your times that you're going to work on. And you can just call it working on your business or go for growth activities because we're going to guide you through the activities that will help you take the steps forward. So what that is going to look like for you, you're in prepare week. So it's going to be preparing, getting ready to start inviting next week. Next week's focus is inviting. And then you're going to be making sure that you have the necessary supplies, the things that you need. We'll be talking about that this week. And you'll be, of course, this is always going to be fluid. Something could come up one day and you have to drop everything and go take care of that. But if you don't plan at all, you're definitely not going to do it, right? So that's just one example. And let's see, then we get to the elite planner. So these are helpful rank sheets for if that's your goal. And we assume with a new builder that hasn't hit elite before and is just starting out, that's going to be something they need to fill out. Or if you are a seasoned builder, but you haven't been putting the time and effort and energy into this business for a little while and you're kind of relaunching, this could be really helpful for you too. All right. So your names list, going back to that, try to add 5 to 10 people to your list each week. So you'll hear some of the videos say 2 a day or 10 a week, and that might sound like a lot, but remember that you're going to be watching some videos that help you see how it's just adding name. It could be someone you just met. It doesn't mean they're not the same as your contact list, right? I remember Twinka saying that she had heard that and it was really helpful for her. Your names list is not the same as your contact list. Every person on your names list does not necessarily mean you're going to be reaching out to them this week to share doTERRA with them. This is just a brainstorming sheet. Okay, so you're just thinking up as many people as you can, and you might meet a new friend at the grocery store tomorrow, and that can be added to the list. Might need an Uber driver if you're traveling or whatever it is. It's just anybody whose name you get and have some kind of contact information for, or it could just be practicing being the friendliest version of yourself as you're out and about in living your life. Just keeping in mind, who can I be adding to my names list? This may mean I want to form a relationship with this person. I'm just, I'm not going to sample them or invite them to my next class because I just met them necessarily. It doesn't mean you're going to introduce them to doTERRA this week. That can create a mental block for you if you're thinking putting them on this list means I'm giving them a sample or inviting them to a class. This is just a list of people that you know. It can differ from the people you're actually going to contact. It's just about building relationships, seeing how many names you can add. You might not ever contact them about doTERRA, honestly, but it's always being in that mindset of expanding your network. Like Twinka was saying, am I really expanding my network or am I comfortable in this particular group of people? So focusing on that, keeping your names list organized, and then always keep adding to it. Okay. And with the calendar, just keeping in mind, again, those non-negotiables and looking for those pockets. Because if you plan to fail, then if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So create your workspace. Where's a spot you can work? Again, it might just be at your dining room table. We talked about that a little bit, that some of us don't have space for an office or we're in between spaces. That's just not possible in our lives. Sometimes we work out of a coffee shop or a car, whatever that might be, but having what you need with you, like Jeff mentioned, having the A to Z guide or that book with you so you're ready to share when the opportunity comes up. Communicate with your family members, other people in your household, that, hey, I need to treat these hours as if I'm going to a physical job because these are my work hours for my business, and get them on board with your why. When you share that with your family, this is what I'm working toward, and they get excited about it, they'll be supportive of your business and just treating it like you have to show up for a job as much as possible. I realize it's a lot to add doTERRA work hours to your schedule when you already have a full plate. So remember that if nothing changes, right? And that's what this is about, is making changes so that you can have those long-term goals met. Okay. And then we get down to, as we finish up the prepare section of this, so again, break this down, go through a few pages a day as you're downloading it, and it gets into what it takes to succeed, partnering with your mentor. That's going to be, again, your accountability group. So becoming a solutions provider. Success begins with you being a product of your products. Again, your belief is going to grow as you consistently experience the benefits of the products, and you're that solutions provider in your own home first. And you're going to get more excited, enthusiastic about it as you see it working, as you use the products. So always be focusing on that. There's some tips there for sharing the products, starting to think about that, creating experiences where people can discover products, how you might be thinking of selling could be creating a mindset block, because selling in its purest form is service. It's helping people find solutions to problems they could have, or could avoid. And you are that solutions provider, not because you have to solve all their problems, but because you empower others to learn ways to solve things for themselves. So asking always, who can I reach out to today? How can I offer to serve them? It may not, again, be with doTERRA. Sometimes I reach out to a customer just to say hello, just checking on you, seeing how things are going, thinking we're going to talk about oils, and they have something they need to vent or need to share or ask me to pray with them about. I'm showing up and serving them in the way that they need best, and that's the mindset we want to have. And then teaching our builders to do the same things as you launch your business, thinking about how you can empower customers who use and love the products, sharers who host classes, and builders who partner with you to build a business. Commit to developing the skills necessary to reach your goals and be the kind of builder you would want to work with. And then there are these other guides that can be helpful as well, some more doTERRA resources. And then we get into targeting your message. So I encourage you to do this as kind of homework for this week, whether you just write it in a notebook or you print this out. Just getting clear on how to lead with the mindset of seeking to serve. And there's some good prompts here, little journaling prompts, not too much. You don't have to write down too much here. Or if you want to, get a notebook and really go to town and write a lot about this, because this is knowing your messaging, getting clear on your mission, the impact that you're going to make what you're seeking to do in that, how you're going to serve, how you're going to be that solutions provider, and solve. So those are the three categories. The courage to share comes from understanding the needs of others and knowing you can create value with your solutions. So going through some of these prompts would be a really great activity to do. I'm going to post this along with those ideas for pages to complete in the Facebook group after we're done here, along with the recording. I know there's some who couldn't be on live. And it can be helpful to write out what is known as a value articulator statement. It's kind of like a mission statement, but it's just declaring what you do, how others will benefit from working with you. There's a couple of examples here. You can follow the template to write out your own. I help teach, support who to do what so that the result or outcome, unlike the less favorable alternative, because, and then the distinction or difference of your offer. So the first one, I help mothers discover essential oil solutions so they can have their babies at home as an alternative to the traditional approach because birthing can be beautiful and natural. So that was someone who's maybe a postpartum doula who is really refining and figuring out who her main target market is. There will be some language about that in our videos this week, knowing who your audience is and getting that specific. It doesn't have to necessarily be that specific, but if you know that there's a certain demographic you really want to work with, it could be. Okay, and partnering with your mentor. So again, this part will be a bit different for us because we're working with each other and encouraging each other. And these are things that you can do with yourself. You can do a strategy check-in with yourself. What wins and victories did you have last week? What's working to grow your business? What challenges are you running into? This also would be great things to post in the Facebook group on Celebrate Your Success. What wins and victories you had, what's working to grow your business, and then reviewing from week to week, how did things go with your top goals? Anything that needs to shift going forward. And here are the prepare steps that you should be focusing on this week. So time blocking, getting your calendar figured out, adding to your names list. Instead of strategy session with Upline, you're going to be doing your daily check-in with your accountability group. Attending team call, check, check. You've already done that. Product training, that will be different for all of us too, depending on where you're at, what you already do or don't know. But there's lots of great product training available from doTERRA. There's past recordings and things in our replays from our trainings. There's always new ones coming up. There's the detox series of classes coming up that doTERRA is putting out. And we'll have some more opportunities. Always, there's a weekly Discover Essentials training that we can tap into, and daily personal development. So that's kind of the last one we didn't really talk about, whether it's reading a book, listening to an uplifting podcast, just tapping into things that successful people are doing, listening to that, paying attention to your mindset. That's where you're going to start with your personal development. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to start reading a book. That's a great thing to do if you can. But we'll talk more about that as we continue on as well. And then your goals for the upcoming week. Any breakthroughs that you have, it's always great to write down any reminders that you want for yourself. So again, you may or may not use all of these sheets in here. And then Prepare Week just kind of ends with reminders of what it takes to succeed. Really, your success is up to you. You've got the resources. It's just about making the time, setting the goals, doing the work, and the skills required to do this really aren't hard, but they do need to be practiced, utilized, and mastered over time, not mastered overnight, okay, over time. And then you're going to get focused through Go for Growth. So I commend you all for being here and doing that. You're getting focused, and you already have shown you have grit by showing up. And you will see people may feel threatened when you move out of your old world and into a new one when you're setting goals. You may experience rejection and setbacks. So buckle up. We're here to cheer you on. We're here to support each other and help each other stay the course. And just remember too the impact that we're making. I love these little reminders that they put in about how much our decision to build this business and share oils with others and even use oils in our own homes makes a difference all the way around the world. The impact on both sides of the bottle. Sharing oils with others just increases the impact that doTERRA as a company makes and that we all make together all around the world with uplifting communities and people, as I've seen firsthand. in other countries where our sourcing is. So doTERRA was born from the belief that pure essential oils can change the lives of those who use them and those who create them. Our mission has always been to source the best essential oils while helping the most people along the way. The more doTERRA grows, the more global good we can accomplish in a relentless pursuit of positive impact. So I love that. That is the end of the prepare section. Just wanted to share that with you to remind all of us the bigger impact that we have, the significance. So I know we're right at the top of the hour. I want to look through the comments, see if there's any other thoughts. There's some good comments here. Tanya shared about when she was a homeschool mom. She would put her phone in the drawer and to homeschool her kids. That's a great tip. And then work her business in the afternoons and some classes on evenings and Saturday mornings. That's great. The memory jogger in the Empowered Success tab on doTERRA website is also really helpful. Thank you for that. Also, if you need help thinking of enough people to add on your names list, thank you, Twinka. Debbie said she just enrolled someone she had on her list from years ago. Yeah, that's why we keep adding to our names list because you don't know when you might have that opportunity to actually give a sample and reach out, but it's about building those relationships. Um, okay, and there's just some feedback there. I won't read through all of it. Thank you for that link, Twinka. But it is really important to just make sure we're working on our mindset along the way, and we'll have more tips for that as well. So enjoy the posts and activities for this week. I hope you're connecting well with your accountability groups. Are there any questions, any last thoughts before we sign off for tonight and get on with Prepare Week? Just had to take a screenshot of you all. I'll go back and see who was on camera earlier too for doing the drawing. We will be back same time next week with Invite. Tanya's going to be leading you through effectively inviting. As always, if you have questions throughout the week, feel free to post in the comments on the different posts. So just utilize our Facebook group to connect and ask questions as well. And if there's nothing else for tonight, I hope this was helpful. Oh, yes, Tina, did you have something?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So when you're doing your names list, I've always thought that you want to get the name and the number so that way you can contact them later. But if you just first time meeting them, you don't always get their number. You know where you're going to see them again. So do you just write their name down or?
Yeah, just write their name down. If it's someone you know on a first name basis, write their name down. And if the way to contact them is I see them at this place for now, that's great. Knowing that you're going to work toward developing further relationships so that at some point they're going to want to exchange contact information with you. And sometimes with people like that too, where I know it would be kind of awkward to ask for this person's name. I've seen them at this place that, multiple times. I try to see if I can find them on Facebook and send them a friend request because they recognize me, I recognize them, and that's a way where I could send them a message if I don't have their number, if they happen to also be on Facebook. But if not, then that's just something to work toward. Yeah, but to go ahead and write their name down, anybody you're on a first name basis with. Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? All right, well, make it a great week, and we'll be back with you next week. So have fun with Prepare Week, everybody. Talk to you soon and see you next week. Good night.
Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
Good night.